What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm excited to bring you my full review for the CIVIVI Praxis. Believe it or not, I have never had a Praxis as popular as this one is, which is why I'm so excited to bring you my review of it. Let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to be going through specs, size comparisons, and then we'll go ahead and jump into my thoughts and impressions of this knife. Let's go ahead and run through the specs. First off, the CIVIVI Praxis has a 3.75 inch 9CR 18 MOV blade steel, good budget blade steel. Handles are 4.7 inches. I have the carbon fiber, but I know that they make the micarta and the G10 variants. Overall length, 8.45 inches, and claimed weight is 3.99 ounces. I'm going to bring the scale out here so we can check that weight. So 3.99, it might be just under 4, but the scale is saying 4 ounces, and really that's a very minor difference. So now that we have the specs out of the way, what I'd like to do is go ahead and bring out the size comparisons. I like to do this to give you a point of reference. Sometimes those numbers really don't mean a whole lot to someone when you're really just rambling through the specs that are out on the website. First up, we got the Demco AD 20.5, which is a very EDC friendly sized knife. And then we have the Spyderco Shaman, which is a little bit on the bigger side for EDC. And as you can see, the Praxis is right in line with the size of the Shaman and a lot bigger than the Demco AD 20.5. Let me get these two out of the way and we'll go ahead and bring out two more. We got the Benchmade Bug Out, very popular EDC knife, and the Hogue SIG K320. And actually the Praxis is going to be a little bit bigger than the Hogue. The Hogue a little bit smaller than the Shaman, which is one of the reasons that I do like that, but it has the beefiness to it still for the contouring. Let me go ahead and do a couple of budget knife comparisons. We're going to bring another CIVIVI out here, and that is going to be the Conspirator. And as you can see, the Praxis is actually bigger than the Conspirator, and we'll bring out the Vosteed Raccoon, which is another EDC friendly size knife that I do like for budget comparisons. As you can see, the Praxis is just bigger than all of these knives on the table, so since it is a larger knife, we're going to do the thickness profile comparison on here against the Conspirator. And as you can see, has the same thickness as the Conspirator. I am going to bring the SIG K320 out here. You can see the SIG is thicker, but when you do it against the butt of the knife, you can see it's thinner. It has that V shape going to it. And last but not least, we will bring out the Spyderco Shaman, and you can see they're about even. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how it's going to feel in hand, how it's going to carry in pocket. Let's go ahead and jump into my review of the knife. First, we're going to talk about the ergos. I absolutely love the ergonomics on this knife. It is very comfortable. It has little scallop sections here that are not overly done, so your hand does kind of land in there, but you have a little bit of room to kind of shift around, and I'll show you on here as well. You have space, which I really appreciate that they didn't kind of overly or make them overly aggressive, telling you exactly where to put your hand. You can kind of shift around on the knife a little bit and feel very comfortable. The other thing too that I really appreciate is it does have just a little bit of contouring going on. You can see just the hint of contouring, and that translates really well to the knife in hand. Feels very comfortable. Just really nice in hand ergos. I'm really just surprised that CIVIVI has a knife this big out there, and more surprised that it's taken me so long to do the review on it. What you have here is flush steel liners, and it looks like a G10 backspacer, and then they are hollowed out for weight reduction. Hopefully the light is catching it just enough to where you can see that. You would have about, let's see if I can get the lighting on here. I would say that is about 30% lockup. Really nice access to the lock bar, and it is jimped, so you can rest your finger right on top of it. You can come in from the side, and you can even lift up on it very comfortably. The action is very smooth. It does fall, well, it doesn't fall shut, it shakes shuts, which is nice. It has ceramic bearings on phosphor bronze, caged but hollow. And I will say I am going to do a disassembly, and I am going to do a tune-up on the liner lock because it is a little bit of a light detent on mine. Yours might be different. That can happen. And I'm assuming as it breaks in, it almost goes all the way open. You see, if I give it just a little bit more than a light pull, but if I'm just doing a pull to show you how light the detent is, I do want it to be just a little bit tighter. So when I do the disassembly for this one, I am going to go ahead and do a detent tune. Now, talking about these scales specifically, they do have a very reflective, shiny finish, and I'm okay with that. Unlike some fat carbons that don't have the coated finish on them, and here you go, the dark matter is probably going to be close to the shred. You can get a real sense of the difference there. The finish that they put on top of the carbon fiber here, like a laminate type finish, really gives it like a pop. So depending on whether you like that or not, and then here is some twilled carbon fiber that doesn't have the laminate finish on there, so you can get a sense of what CIVIVI has done with this finish. Looks really good. You have the gold flake. It is carbon fiber scales all the way through. It is not an overlay, as you can see it in the materials here where the gold flakes are on this particular model. The other thing too with the light detent, I can reverse flick it. I will report back after the disassembly and detent tune if I can continue to do that or not. The blade has a really tall flat grind, and it is really thin for as large of a knife as this is. I was really surprised how thin it is. I did some test cut through paper. Factory edge came nice. I'm assuming, because I couldn't find it, that the heat treat on the 9CR18 MOV is probably that same 59 to 61 that it seems like they advertise for all of their steels. And if that's the case, that is a solid heat treat for 9CR18 MOV. It's going to hold an edge. It's going to be really easy to maintain. It's going to be tough, and it's going to have corrosive resistance that you would like in your daily carry knife. If you're going to hard use this knife, you probably should go ahead at the end of each day and just strop it up, maybe even hone and strop it depending on how hard you've used it. 9CR is tough, but it's not going to be the toughest steel out there, and depending on what you're doing with it could dictate what type of experience that you're having with this particular knife. I think that's everything that we want to cover on this one. Alternative recommendations, the price on this knife, from what I found with the Praxis, it started at $43. This particular variant was $69.99. Now, I did go to White Mountain Knives and use my discount code to get 10% off from that. But honestly, I think at $43 to under $50, if you get the, I think, micarta and 9CR, is probably going to be the better buys for this. And if you wanted an alternative recommendation but you don't like the size of this knife, I would probably say go ahead and pick up the mini Praxis. If you want a liner lock, if you want something a little bit more fidgety, I would recommend the Syncut Saxy. I don't have those, unfortunately, to show against this one, but it's going to be roughly about the size of the Conspirator as far as the difference. It's going to be close if you're talking about the Saxy, but not quite the same. So hopefully those alternative recommendations have helped you. If you enjoyed today's review, do me a favor, leave a like. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you follow along. If you are subscribed and you already have your notification bell set to all, thank you. I appreciate you, and thank you to everyone that regularly leaves likes and comments for my videos. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.